Good morning, y'all. We are here in the kitchen and I'm going to show y'all how to make sausage gravy. You can eat it for breakfast, you could eat it for dinner, you could add it to a lot of different things. I've already shown y'all how to make buttermilk biscuits, so I'll be linking that video below. But let's get to cooking, y'all. So I have my homemade buttermilk biscuits in the oven, and I have my skillet for my sausage. Heated on medium-high heat, and you are going to brown your sausage. Brown the sausage, but do not drain it. This sausage came from Papa Weaver's pork. Typically, you would use a pound of sausage for a family of 4, or 4 adults, or 4 eaters. I cut my recipe down mainly because I'm not just making sausage gravy for breakfast. I'm making grits and eggs as well. But if you were just making it as sausage gravy, you might want to make a whole pound. I cut mine down to save on meat, and I make my gravy more creamy so that it's still the same amount of gravy. I'm making grits right now too. So it's still the same amount of gravy, sausage gravy that you would get. It just has less sausage in it. You can make your gravy thicker if you like it thicker, and I'll tell you how to do that in a few minutes. But first you're going to brown your sausage. And this gadget I have, I'll share a link to it below. This is a must-have in the kitchen if you cook meat. It's to help you separate the meat so that it'll cook better, but then as it starts cooking you can finely chop it, which also helps if you're trying to cut back on the amount of meat that you have in your recipe, because the smaller the pieces, the further it goes. So brown your meat, first step. Do not drain the fat. Okay, now that you have your sausage browned, and you can see that this gadget here, I don't even know what it's called, ground meat gadget, Vicky, I don't know. Anyway, you can get it finely chopped if you prefer. You don't have to do your sausage this way. I know a lot of people that prefer it hunked because they like it better that way. But again, I'm trying to stretch my meat further to save money and reserve the meat that I have on hand. So what you will do, whether you use a whole pound or this amount, you're going to put a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, and you're going to sprinkle it in here. If you would like for your yours to be a little creamier and you're using a full pound, then I recommend you use 3/4 of a cup maybe. And then you're just going to mix this around. This is kind of hard to do one-handed. You're going to mix it around, and then you're going to let it cook for a minute, and then you're going to add your milk. And I just had my timer go off for the biscuits, so let me get those out. Look at these beautiful biscuits. I'm going to rub butter on the tops of these. Okay, so on the milk, I don't really have an exact measurement. I normally go until everything is kind of covered or floating like this. If you want, again, your gravy to be creamier, you can add a little more milk. If you like it less creamy and thicker, then you would do less milk. Now, I will tell you, the more milk you put, the longer it's going to take for your gravy to cream, because essentially you're going to have to let some of that water evaporate out of the milk. And so you'll just keep this on the same medium-high heat, and you'll stir it. I like to add salt, and then I'll add pepper, and you just let it simmer. Keep stirring it until it gets to the consistency that you prefer. And here is our biscuits. We're going to add some butter to the tops. You don't have to do this. You can skip this step if you don't want the extra calories, but it does make a difference in the taste and the texture of the biscuit. But again, you don't have to do this. Got 2 little biscuits. I do not leave any of the dough. Whatever dough's left over after I'm done cutting the biscuits goes on the pan. Okay, and we'll let those sit until we're ready to use them in just a minute. Sausage gravy is really hard to film and photograph because it's not very pretty, but it sure is tasty. Okay, when the... Yep, eggs are yummy. When your gravy gets about like this is when you're going to turn it down. And like I said, you're going to keep your eye on it and stir it. And you're going to just let it simmer until it gets to the consistency that you prefer. Okay, so it's about at this consistency that I will turn it off and just let it sit for a minute. But I'll turn off the eye. And this is almost ready for us. By the time it sits for just a minute, it'll be the perfect consistency and texture. I see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you know what I made for breakfast?
Yeah.
Biscuits.
And gravy.
And gravy biscuits. And eggs from our chickens. And grits. Alright, and here is the end result. Like I said, not very photo or video worthy, but this is breakfast in the Beatty house this morning. I hope y'all have a great day. Bye, y'all. Sure's good?
Yeah.
What you got?